In 2023, we built our own version of the massive LED sphere in Las Vegas. It was awesome and a lot of fun. But then, tragedy. Weather, weight, and rookie mistakes added up, and our beautiful sphere melted. That was a very sad day. After observing the appropriate traditional mourning period, we determined to rebuild our sphere. We didn't know when or how, but we were sure that melted pile of splinters and pixels was not how this journey would end. So what went wrong? Like any first attempt at a new and somewhat radical idea, there are many things that, looking back now, it's easy to see we could have done better. Probably the number one reason the first sphere melted was because we built it out of plywood. At the time, we did consider using metal, but we thought we could get it done faster and cheaper with wood. Those things were true. It was fast and it was less expensive. However, we significantly overestimated the ability of that plywood to hold up to the weather. Even though we used Gorilla Ply and covered it with outdoor paint, there was still enough snow, sun, ice, wind, and water to cause the layers to weaken and split. Plywood doesn't always deteriorate so fast outdoors. In our case, we were asking our plywood to bear vertical weight. That is against the nature and purpose of plywood. As soon as some water got in between those layers and they started to split, the weight of 20,000 pixels was just too much. Once one or two of the plywood legs started to fail, that put extra strain on the rest, and the death spiral had begun. In a last-ditch effort to save the original sphere, I got a group of barbarians to lift it up onto a trailer, and I cut a hole in the bottom of the trailer so I could climb inside and try to prop up the structure. It was a solid plan, but it was too little, too late. Not long after we got it up on the trailer, the slow collapse of the sphere sped up. I think the trauma of being moved weakened it even more. Within a week or so of putting it on the trailer, it collapsed completely and was beyond saving. For the rebuild, we decided to make the frame out of metal. We chose to use 1/8 inch aluminum, and we also added 50% more vertical supports. The first version had 16, and the new one has 24. All credit here goes to DrZzs. He did a brilliant job of redesigning the frame, and he got the good folks at Send Cut Send to make the parts and ship them to us. If you want to build a sphere of your own, you can get all the parts for the frame from Send Cut Send. Yes, it is more expensive than the wooden version, but it wasn't as bad as we expected. The plywood frame cost about $1,200 in materials, plus a little more for glue and nails. The aluminum parts from Send Cut Send were $2,600. We decided to use rivets instead of nuts and bolts. DrZzs also designed some steel cabling to really make this frame as rigid as possible. So we're putting all these cable reinforcements in, which has made it like super stiff like this, and they're not even tight yet. And this thing does, down here, it doesn't move at all compared to up here. Whoa. But down here, super, super stiff already. So we're gonna keep going, and this is how we do it. These loops, we've got this 1/8 inch, right? 1/8 inch metal wire.
Yep, 3mm, 1/8 inch.
And then we've got these turnbuckles and these crimpies.
Which we named shackles because we don't like them.
Yeah, they called them, what did they call them? Sleeves.
Sleeves.
Not sleeves, they're shackles.
We're calling them shackles.
Shackles is a way cooler name. Okay, so put on a shackle. Put this protector around there so we don't sever the wire when we're shaking things up. Bend this guy around. Slide that through that little hole there. All right. And then we can crimp this so it doesn't ever move ever again. And then we go every other one. So we're gonna come up here to this one, and we're gonna put one of the turnbuckles here. And then this wire's just gotta go here and then back again. So we're gonna put another one of those shackles here. So I'm gonna come out to about here and cut that. Okay, and then the shackle goes first. Because this is nice and smooth and round, we're not putting those protectors on here. We could, just to keep the angle down, maybe on the wire, but that shouldn't cause the wire to tear, at least not in my lifetime. All right, and then When we want it to make it tighter, we just spin this guy until this is, we don't get it super tight now because we're gonna put them all in and then we'll tighten them all, but that's it. So because there's 24 of these and we're going every other one on these, we need 12 of these at each level. And we're gonna have, so we've done 2 levels, we've got 3, 4, 5 levels. So we got 3 more levels to go.
Yep.
Okay.
Let's get her done.
Let's get her done. The new metal frame, reinforced with steel cables and screwed to the trailer as a base, turned out to be really firm and strong. No amount of snow or sun is going to melt it this time. Hey, let me out of here. What are you doing? Let me out. Let me out. The next step in the rebuild was to hang the pixels. If you watched the first video, you may remember us saying that pushing the 20,000 pixels into the holes in the plastic strap was by far the worst part. We really didn't want to do that again. Fortunately, both the pixels and the strap survived the melting. We were able to just rewrap the new frame with the old pixels. That saved a ton of work. Being able to get inside the sphere to work on hanging pixels and make the wiring connections was a great upgrade to this second version. One of the most important changes in this version of our sphere is the ability to get inside of it. It's so much easier to get here, and if we have to modify lights or wires or do anything. And for stringing these lights back on, I've been doing it from the inside because it's kind of impossible for me to climb up on the outside, just the way that it's shaped and the size of it and everything. On the first version, we didn't do any power injection, and we noticed, a little too late, that there was some dimming at the end of every string of pixels. Since I could get inside this time, I was able to add power injection. We also had some flickering on the first version, which I was also able to fix by redoing a few connections that weren't as solid as they should have been. One unexpected result of adding power injection was an overall increase in the amount of power the sphere uses. I'm guessing that's because the voltage was dropping so much before that the last 50 to 100 pixels on each of the 27 outputs was not drawing much power. When I added power injection to each output, hundreds of LEDs were now able to draw more power. The first indication I had that this was happening was that the smart switch I was using on the AC side of the power supplies suddenly died. I replaced it with another, equally cheap smart switch, and that one died right away as well. The sphere runs on 2 100 amp, 1200 watt, 12 volt power supplies. That means on the AC side, it can pull 20 amps. That's certainly more than most smart relay devices can handle. After the demise of 2 different cheap smart switches, I decided to go with 2 Shelly 1PM V3 smart relays with power monitoring. Shelly is my go-to brand when I need something super reliable. Up at our off-the-grid Whobbit house, I use Shelly devices on all the critical equipment. After getting the new Shellys installed and looking at the power monitoring, it was clear why those other switches fried. Previously, the sphere was using at most 16 amps, and that was only for brief moments. Now, with all the pixels receiving a full 12 volts, this sucker uses a lot more power. Before this change, I was able to run the sphere off just one extension cord, but now I've got to run 2 cords to 2 different circuits in the house, so I don't melt the cords or trip the circuit breakers. The last major upgrade to this version of the sphere is that it's now on a trailer, so it's portable. Because all the sequences and music are stored on the Culp control board, we can take it anywhere, and it can run independent of the rest of my home light show. Pretty proud of this. This is the sphere running off of batteries. So I've got 2 batteries here, big inverter here. At rest, it's at 500 watts. That's just with, basically the board's powered up but no lights on. I do have a charger too, actually. So if I plug in this, it'll charge both of these batteries. Not very fast, but they'll charge. So now we're going to do the test. And doing the test mode, we're at like 1,000 watts. Different test mode, about the same. This one is a little more intense. Anyways, sweet, eh? It's portable. We finally got brave enough to take it out on a maiden voyage. It was the end of summer, and our little town was having its end of summer festival. So I hooked it up and went out on the town. Well, that's it. We were briefly pretty sad when our first home-sized LED sphere collapsed. I'm glad we regrouped and decided to rebuild it. I love the way it looks and runs now. Now that it's mobile, where should we take it? What do you think we should do with it next? That's all for now. As always, thanks for watching. Until next time, adios.